Thursday. Hi, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Hi, everyone. Come on in, say hello, say hello. Come on in, say hello, come on in, say hello. Hi, everybody. Come on in. Happy Thursday. What's going on, people? Hello, Augustine. How are you? Let me make sure. Okay, there we go. Just making sure that I am on Facebook. Okay. Why is it dark? Okay, what's going on? Hmm. Okay, 1 second. I don't know why it is dark on Facebook. Let's see. Can y'all see me okay on Facebook and YouTube for whatever reason? Okay. Gonna restart this. Hi everyone. Maybe not. I don't know. There's something not. Let me see. Hello, Miss Deborah. How are you? Okay. Is it? Am I coming in dark? Because it's almost like nighttime on my screen. And maybe you're just on my side, Miss Deborah. What are you seeing on your end? Hi, Miss Whitney. How are you? Okay. All right. All right. If you say that's fine, then I would. Let's see. Let's try something here. Take your word for that. Okay, I think that is probably better. Oh no, whatever. Hi everyone. Um. Okay. You know what? I'm gonna. I don't know. I think I did something. I don't know what's going on. I must have done something, but it is what it is. Let me see something. Oh, it's good now. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Um, that's why I went to law school. I don't do tech stuff. Hi, everybody. This is Attorney Abisola Adebola Olale. What's going on, people? Let's see. Uh, okay. All right. It is okay. Perfect. Thank you. All right. I think, yes. How's everybody doing? Yeah. No, that's on, what's it called? Facebook and YouTube. How was it? Y'all, it's already Friday. Tomorrow's Friday. Like this week went by pretty fast. Like really, really fast. It is sometimes ridiculous how fast the week goes. Well, come on in, everyone. Let's talk immigration. I am an immigration attorney based in Alabama, representing immigration clients in all 50 states. If you have an immigration case, if it's a case that we do, we can and do represent immigration clients regardless of the state you live in. Yeah, we'll get to that later on. So just hang in there. Um, our contact number is 334-341-4475. You can also visit our website at olalayalawfirm.com. Send us a text to the same number, either on WhatsApp or just regular text, because it's internet-based phone, so we can get phone. Like I always tell people, like I'm not the only one who has access to. Because sometimes I get some text, I'm like, if only you know how many people are reading your text. But my email is what Yes, we do national interest waiver. My email is aos@olalayalawfirm.com. But you can, that's my personal email. If you are on Facebook and YouTube, you can see our phone, our contact information, website, and everything. If someone can help me type it in, thank you, Illinois Sanctuary. I was just about to say that. I appreciate that. Okay, so there you have it on Instagram, and if someone can help us out on TikTok as well, 334-341-4475. All right, people, let's talk immigration. Please share this video. Follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Subscribe to YouTube channel. That would be very, very much appreciated. Let's talk immigration. What I want to talk about tonight, and we get to the questions later on. Um, it's been a long day, people. It's been a long day. So I've been sounding a bit tired because I had a criminal case this morning, criminal court this morning. I do criminal defense. If thought to try to manja, let's remind me. Any practice where you have to fight. What can I say? Um, so let's talk immigration. Once again, if you need to reach us, 334-341-4475, aos@olalayalawfirm.com, info@olalayalawfirm.com, or just go to the website, olalayalawfirm.com. Why you should file for advance parole. Let me proofread that because I want to make sure I didn't misspell. Since I live with a spelling bee champion. Why you should file for advance parole? That's what I want to talk about today. So usually I always say that whenever I have or come across someone or have a consultation with somebody and they have an issue, if someone has that issue, I'm almost guarantee somebody else is dealing with the same thing, right? So turns out that I consulted with someone who kind of like is stuck back home, and home for them is Ghana. They are trying to get back to the United States after traveling. Okay. Hello, Misayo, how are you? Um, why is this going in and out? All right, sorry about that. I must have touched something. I'm not really sure what it is, but I will have to keep going, people. There's nothing I can do about that. Let's see. That may be a little better. Okay. Um, please understand that if you are planning to travel, you're not planning to travel, I don't care what it is. If you are eligible to file advance parole application, please, please, please make sure you do. Why you should file for advance parole, that's what we are going to address tonight. So for those who do not know, leave under a rock or something, advance parole is the way I like to explain it is the equivalent of a visa. Rather than have a visa stamp in your passport, advance parole it takes the place of that and allows you to get entry into the United States. For the most part, people who file advance parole are those who have pending adjustment of status applications, so pending green card applications. And what the purpose of advance parole is this: whenever you and it's form I-131, that's the form you use to file your advance parole. Whenever you have a pending, once you file the green card application and you're out of status, or you are on a valid non-immigrant status, however, it is a status that does not have dual intent in the sense of once you file an adjustment of status application and you go out, you cannot use your non-immigrant visa back to come back in the country because you've now had an intention of migrating. You would be required to use your advance parole. So there's some. Okay, you know what? Let's. I think I figured it out. Really. there are some situations where, or there's some non-immigrant visa status or non-immigrant status that you have a dual intent. An example would be an H-1B status. An H-1B visa allows you to have, it's called a dual intent visa. That's because you can have the intention of migrating permanently to the United States, as well as maintain a temporary intent of being on an H visa. There are some visas that are not the same. Like an F visa is not a dual intent. So once you file an application for green card and you are leaving the country, you would have to come back in with your advance parole. So why is it important when you file your green card application? And you can also file an advance parole if you have a pending asylum case. So if you have a pending asylum case, you're able to file an advance parole application for you to actually travel so you're not just stuck. When you file, and for the most part, many of us immigrants are usually out of status when we file advance parole. And that means you don't have any other fallback status. Once you file the green card application, you turn in your I-485, you're basically stuck. Because if you leave, it will be deemed that you have abandoned your application. So in order for you not to just feel like you're stuck in the country and you can't leave until the decision has been made, which obviously, as we all know, is taking forever. Some of the applications will probably be pending until Jesus comes back. That's just what it's just taking a ridiculously long time. While you are waiting, so that you don't feel stuck and like life just is at a standstill, you can file an advance parole application so that once you travel out, that allows you to gain entry back into the country. It is not an automatic right, or it's not mandatory for CBP to allow you into the country. So USCIS approves your advance parole application and gives you that travel document. However, CBP, Customs and Border Protection, has the final discretion whether or not to parole you back into the United States. Most people don't have issues coming back. If the only issue you had was your unlawful stay, that takes care of that. Most people will usually have secondary inspection. It's just the norm. But now, if you have other issues like criminal case or whatever the case may be, then that's a whole new cup of tea. But you must have the advance parole approved before you leave the country. If you have a green card application that is pending and you leave the country without an advance parole that has been approved. So this lady who is stuck in Ghana now, she had an advance parole application pending. But according to her, because I did virtual consultation, so basically it was almost nighttime, or it was nighttime there. But she is just worried, sick out of her mind, because now her case is pending here. She was ill-advised and told that as long as she had filed the application, she could travel. That's where the problem lies. You cannot travel because that is the actual travel document. That's the actual travel document. Now, people would say, well, how would immigration know? So what if somebody mails it to her when it is approved? Keep in mind, dates don't lie. So if you are already outside the country before USCIS actually approves your I-131 application, that's misrepresentation, and that will most likely land you in deportation proceedings. So I have clients who will say, like, on USC. That's okay. But my practice, unless you just tell me I don't care to have it, don't waste your time, which reluctantly I do. I can count on one hand how many clients who have pending I-485 that we don't have an advance parole for that's been filed. And I always tell my clients, it doesn't matter whether you have no plans. Let's just file it because you never know. She had to leave, and like a lot of us, when we come here, a lot of people haven't seen their kids for like 5-6 years. A lot of people have elderly parents that are sick, and you don't know how long they have. That's the situation with her. Her mother, was diagnosed with cancer. She had to go back home. Her mother passed away, unfortunately, and she had to see her mother before she passed. But now the funeral is over, everything is done. She cannot come back to the country because she did not wait to have an advance parole approved. That is why that is one major reason to apply for advanced parole when you've applied for a green card application. Life happens. You do not know when you would need it. We all pray for good news and all that. You just never know when that emergency will happen. Someone is graduating. If you haven't seen your kid and your kid is graduating from in the high school, what we call secondary school back in Nigeria, your kid is graduating from university, slash college, whatever term you use, whatever the case may be, or you just don't know when or why you would have to leave the country. It is not easy. Now, sometimes you're able to apply for emergency parole, where you make an InfoPass appointment. Sometimes emergency may not necessarily be as urgent. It may still take USCIS up to 30 days. But for the most part, if you try to expedite, let's say, for instance, you realize you have to travel out because there's a family emergency back home, and you try to expedite that, many more times they deny it. And going by the recent processing times, it is taking a long time for USCIS to approve anything. Now, we have from time to time, you would have unicorn cases because, there was a case that I'm sending out to my client tomorrow that we filed in December 2022, and it was approved. It was approved last week. Yeah. And I told her, like, listen, this is not something you broadcast to everybody. Telling me, this is not something you broadcast to everybody. This is a very unusual situation. Like, I don't know, somebody was drunk at USCIS. They were having a good day. They just got your case, and they were, they were in a good mood. Like, you know what? Hey, you get a work permit. You get a work permit. You get something. When something happened, because I have cases that we filed since June, July that are still pending. So you do not know how long it would take them if you now get into a situation where you have to file advance parole application because you have to go out because something has happened and you have to leave. You never know. It's always best when you have the opportunity to file an advance parole, just in case. Just in case, you never know. If you leave the country without having your advance parole approved, USCIS will deem it that you have abandoned your application, and then you will be stuck outside the country. It's going to be, I don't know, really. I would try and figure out what option, because I'm the kind of person, my brain works that way, that, okay, kind of thing, like what until Jesus says, okay, Abisola, Joko. Like, Itoshinato. I always try to figure out a solution to everything. That's why my hair is great. But on a more serious note, it doesn't matter even if you think you do not need advance parole, even if you end up not using it, it's safer for you to just leave it that way. Now, I think I have, so there's one here that came in with our mail this week, and we got more today. USCIS has been good to us. Knock on wood. So someone whose case is also part of that, her and her kids, and she's probably going to email like, she's like, I didn't mention it, so we'll see. But we filed theirs in November. But there's a travel document because we filed it separately. I had to tell my client, listen, I feel much comfortable filing an advance parole for you. I'll keep it. She says, Lord, just hold on to it. I don't need it. I want to travel. I'm here. And I said, that's fine. So I have at least about 5 that my clients was like, okay, don't bother sending it to me, just keep it. And I'm okay with that. It doesn't, because you've already filed at 485, you've paid a filing fee. You do not have to pay filing fee for I-131. It's basically free for you to file it. You just have to fill the form and send it in. It doesn't hurt anything, because nobody knows what tomorrow is going to bring. So it's always advisable once you have your I-45 pending, please file your advanced parole application at the same time. Even if you have no intention of traveling, even if you end up not using it, just have it just in case. You're not spending an additional and it's usually part of my attorney fees. The very first one you file is part of my attorney fees. So you're not paying anything extra. You're not paying additional filing fees because you've already paid your filing fee for your 485. It's a win-win situation. So people, please, the word is enough for the wise. Do not travel outside the country if you have a pending green card application without making sure that not only did you file your I-131, it's not just the filing. You've got to make sure you have your combination card, meaning you filed at the same time with your EAD, or if your filing is subsequent to when you have your work permit, you have the I-512 travel document approved before you leave the country. The word is enough for the wise. That's all she wrote. Okay, people. And Kilomas, you're right, I know. Because you know my Yoruba is not the best. Let me try. Help me out, people. And how we something. When I know it's a TML. My mom used to say that a lot. Abisola ATML. Like, so, truth be told, growing up in Nigeria, American kids are different. But growing up in Nigeria, well, be a galactic talk back. But I really always wanted to talk back to my mom. I just would think of the fact that she would, she used to wear, she still wears all the time. And she when you knock on your head, like you have migraine till Jesus comes back. Because sometimes you're like, my my right side of brain is telling me, then the left side was like, wake up, mommy, it's me, love. Àbọ̀rọ̀ là ń sọ fún ọmọlúàbí. Thank you, Mr. Wong. Tó bá dénú adòdìndín, something, whatever, something like that. A word is enough for the wise. That's all. We don't have to tell you the whole story or say too many words for you to be wise enough. So that's how it goes. But file your advance parole. Do not be, don't take chances. File it. If you don't need it, leave it alone. I have quite a number sitting in my office. At least I know that my clients, if they decide, you know what, it's too. Religious sanctuary says talking back to an African mom is a suicide mission. It is. Oh hell no! You want to die? Oh, you want to die? you want to die? Oh Lord, have mercy. Talking back. In America, you have to devise a way to raise kids in the United States where they ain't gonna call it children's services, especially when you're an attorney representing children's services. Yeah, I work for the state of Alabama as a deputy attorney general. I'm everywhere, so I can't afford to let my kids call HR me. But then I'm so African. I'm like, especially when we're outside. Oh, my 20 adults listening. So, but that one is a very mild kid. TJ, he understands eye language. Shorty, there's different meaning, different looks. There's some like, yeah. But anyway, let's go to questions. Let me put on my second set of eyes so I can see. Okay. Thank you, Ms. Gibson, for helping me out on your end. Appreciate that. Nancy Lopez, and your family, God bless you always, but God bless you too. Thank you for your support. I do sincerely appreciate it. Good evening, Mr. Ayo. How are you? Hello, Mr. Abu. How are you doing? How's it going with you? Okay, question. After I-360 has been approved, can you still file parole or you just go for info pass for stamp? So it's not the I-260 is not what your parole is attached to. It's going to be based on the advanced parole is based on you having a pending I-45. So as long as you still have the I-45 pending and they have not made a decision on that, then you are able to still file your advanced parole. Now, if they approve your green card before the advanced parole is approved, then most likely USCIS will just close up your case or close out and tell you that you've received the benefit through other means. How long is advanced parole taking for VAWA? It's not necessarily based on the VAWA. It's based on the I-45. What I'm seeing, and I usually use my firm because that's what I can use. There's processing times that you can check on USCIS.gov/processing times. But based on what we are seeing practically, it ranges from, I think the fastest one I had was about 48 days to about 6 months. That's the range that I can give you. Okay. Go back and try this. All right, I'll come back. Let me go to TikTok. Okay. Hello from Atlanta. Hello, Arvinet. Is that how you say it? I don't know. Hello from New York City. Hi, New York. That's one of my favorite cities ever. So I'm actually licensed in New York. It's the biggest license in my office. So it's true story. So, and I think I've said this before. When I came to the United States, graduated from law school in Nigeria back in 2002. 21 years ago. And I had to go back. So came here same year, went back to law school after having 2 kids. Oh God, in 2012, and then took the Alabama State Bar. Passed in the first try. Thank you, Jesus. Oh, 𝒊𝒎𝒎𝒊𝒈𝒓𝒂𝒏𝒕. You got long with me. I'm telling you. You think you've had exams in your life? When you take exam and everybody leaves the examination hall like zombies, like what the hell was that? Was that reading in English? And then you have to wait 2 long months to know if you're moving forward or if you're taking. But anyway, passing the first try. Thank you, Jesus. And my dad, God rest his soul, he wanted me to take the New York bar exam. Because as far as my father was concerned, there is no state in the United States, no pun intended, that compares to you being licensed in the state of New York. There's California, there's Florida, but as far as he was concerned, it had to be New York. And he actually was the one who got he contacted Nigeria to get my diplomas from University of Ilorin, from law school, having evaluated transcripts, and I registered to take the New York bar back in 2003. But I got married, moved to Chicago, started a family, became a mama, and that was on the back burner. And he always says, Abisola, my dad used to call me Abi Mama. If I don't mind, but I said, you have to take the New York bar exam. You have to. Anyway, so went back to law school, took the Alabama State Bar in 2014, the morning of 3 a.m., September 25th, 2014. Can never forget. And it just so happens my mother was still awake. The mind speaks to each other. I just woke up for whatever reason. I woke up, picked up my phone, and I saw we are pleased to inform you. What is to lose my freaking mind. Anyway, long story short, end of the day, my dad was away, called me like, hey, guess what? I just passed the bar exam. Do you know this man? Told me, you know that. But it's not New York bar. Huh. Can you say African parents? In my head, you know when you're thinking in your head what you really want to say to your father, but you can't say you can't form the words with your lips. Because I'm thinking in my head, my daddy won't wait in college exam. I'm like, do you understand what it is like? Anyway, um, he said, yeah, congratulations, my son, New York bar. Oh yeah, kushe New York bar. Oh yeah, kushe. Oh yeah. I spent so much, and I think I actually ended up taking the New York bar exam because of my father. You know, African parents have a way of getting into your brain. Like they would sit in your brain and it would eat in your brain and you would eat until you do that thing. And it kept on and kept on. So I was like, anyway, fast forward 3 years later in 2017. Exactly. Fast forward 2017. Went back and registered for the New York bar exam. And I was like, you know what? Hey, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And as God will have it, I passed on the first try. But my dad had already passed, pun intended. He had already passed away at that time. So yeah. So my license is actually next to his photo in my office. It's just a reminder every time. But then I'm like, okay, there you go. You happy now? You happy? Isn't it heaven? About kill go on to one day. If you see if something about God, oh my yes, she finally. Okay, that's the story. Is it better to get married outside America or in America when filing for a spouse? Well, it depends on if you want to go the spousal visa route or you want to go the fiance visa route. That's where you have to start from. And based on your decisions, are you guys at a place where you're ready to get married? Do you want to live together first and see? Um, it just depends. Like in my life right now, I have been married. I was married to my ex-husband for 15 years. I was with him because we met and learned together. With him for 21 years, right, for 15 years. In a different space in my life right now that when I look back at things, I'm like, I think I would have gone through that right now. So my point is, where are you in life? Are you at the place where you're ready? Okay, someone lives with you. Uh, let's get married before we live together, and then we start. Or you want to see how things go and know if somebody you want someone in your space. And go through the fiance visa route first of all. So there's a whole lot that you have to consider before, and that's part of what helps you come to the decision. Most importantly, are you a citizen? Because if you're not a citizen, fiance visa option is not available to you. Just came to say your thank you. Thank you. With the 48 months extension of the LPR, can someone still file for citizenship after 3 years? If you're qualified based on marriage to a citizen or based on you being, based on marriage to a citizen, yes. Or if you're filing an abuse-based waiver 751, you and your abuser is a citizen, you still will qualify after 3 years. So yes. My husband filed I-130 for his brother. Processing time shows 9 months. What would happen next? What would happen next is okay, disclaimer, this general information. What will happen next is the I-130 will be approved, but his brother would not be able to get apply for an immigrant visa yet until they start working on cases that have the receipt date on the receipt notice you guys have. Right now, they're working on cases that were filed in 2007. So there is about anywhere from 13 to 15-year wait. So the I-130 will be approved. That's not the problem. The question is, when will he become eligible to apply for his immigrant visa? And that's where, because the sibling of a citizen is F4 category, preference category, longest wait ever. My office is located in Alabama, but we represent immigration clients in all 50 states. My I-45 was denied. I was never called for any interview. I never received a notice from them. What was the reason they gave you that for the denial? If someone has been here for a year, this past December, can they still apply for asylum? If you have, if you're Generally, you should file within the first year. If you're not filed within the first year, then you must have grounds to show that your reason for filing outside the statutory period falls within the exceptions, changes in country conditions, changes in a personal circumstances, extraordinary circumstances. So I would say to sit down with a lawyer and figure out if you fall within that. You already got a call from an office. I would I would suggest for you to consult with a lawyer and try to figure out, or go ahead and submit a FOIA request and see if that will reveal anything in your record. What is adjustment to status to permanent green card approved for a K1 visa? That is if you came in on a K1 and then you file your adjustment of status, so that's basically you getting the green card. General information. I don't know about your case, but just generally, that's what it would mean. Okay. Do I still need a work permit or traveling parole or per document after my LPR approved? No, you do not. So if you have a conditional residency card or you have the 10-year green card, you do not need a work permit because that's your proof that you're allowed to stay in the country, to live permanently and work permanently. My husband's case was recommended for revocation in 2020. I'm so sorry about that. Nothing since. What can we do? Sit down with the lawyer and figure out what's going on. Thank you, _Ahmed. Okay. Let's see. And yeah, we for Bajogbo. That's another one, Miss Momi. And yeah, we for Bajogbo. That's the one. I think that's what I was really. Yeah, that's what I was trying. Listen, y'all. Thank you for learning. As bad as my Yoruba language skills may be, I actually got an A3 in Yoruba language when I did my SSC exam. Just saying. I don't know. See, when I tell you God's favor can speak for you. And my mom, I think my mom is here. She can attest to that. The essay in that exam says, talk about 𝒊𝒎𝒎𝒊𝒈𝒓𝒂𝒏𝒕. When I tell you guys, this was back in 1994. So we're talking 20, almost 29 years ago. I can still remember because you finish an exam and people are talking and you realize that you just to get back, you finally like you missed the mark. That was not what they were asking you. Those are the kind of exams you never ever forget in your entire life. Yes, I still remember it 29 years after what the essay was about. 𝒊𝒎𝒎𝒊𝒈𝒓𝒂𝒏𝒕. I found out when the exam was over that because you talk in secondary school, and it was like I was like, okay, yeah, it has to do with child christening, like when you christen your child. And my friends were like, no, 𝒊𝒎𝒎𝒊𝒈𝒓𝒂𝒏𝒕 is family planning, and I can argue with a wall. And I argued like, no, that's not what it means. And like, no, if it is like planning. And when everybody said the same thing, this one me, like, ah. And when my SSC exam results came out, and I saw an A3 in Yoruba language, God has real plans for my life. Because all essay that was half your point, and you completely talked about something different, and yet you still finish it with an A. It can only be God. So keep laughing at my Yoruba skills. Hey, we'll look by A3 and exactly. Applied 751 December 2018 and still pending. If you are eligible to file for citizenship, I would suggest to do that because sometimes that helps. Every single case that I've done that on, we've seen progress. So that may be something you want to. Real African mother. Listen, you can take the girl out of Nigeria. You can take the Nigeria out of the girl. I mean, I've learned to adjust. Because my kids are first generation Americans, just like most of your kids. They know, and you just learn to adjust, but then this understand. I remember when TJ was on the phone with one of his friends one time, and the kid was whining, and my brain was just it was messing with my brain, and holy bam, almost we okay, but I just heard him say, "Hey," I wouldn't call the kids like, "Hey, you call this name. Stop whining. Let me tell you something. You can't live with my mom. She's Nigerian, and kids don't whine in Nigeria." I don't. But he was like, "You can't live with my mom. She's Nigerian, and kids don't whine in Nigeria." My head was like, "Tell him." The kid kept quiet real fast, because I was this close to coming to tell like, hmm. Talk about removal proceedings one day. I've done removal proceedings videos. So if you go on our page, let me see. If you go to my Facebook page or YouTube channel and scroll through, I usually have the topics, but I can do it again. That's fine, especially because probably next week, talking about if you have an approved petition, like an approved I-130, approved VOG petition, and you're in removal proceedings, or you've even been ordered deported, but you're still in the country. How do you go about reopening that in immigration court and having the proceedings terminated, or reopening and having to adjust your status in court? I would do that. That's fine. Well, USCIS give you extra time to find a joint sponsor. So if your petitioner doesn't meet the property guidelines, they will usually send you an RFE, and the RFE would have a due date for which you should send in that. Class of 94 in the house. Who is that? Kazim Salako. Do you feel old? No. Old Nibo. No, Nibo. 44 is a new 44. It is just what it is. Going on 45. It's rocking it and just embracing every year and feel old. Why? Like I always tell people, I had kids. I didn't die. I didn't die. Everybody's working on their own. Why would I feel old? Uh-uh. No, don't be fooled by the grades. What form do I need to file for my husband to join me in the US? Sit down and talk to a lawyer if you don't even know what to file. That's what you do. The first step to take is sit down and talk to your lawyer about your case. Can I submit video evidence on my I-290B appeal from a VOD denial? What I would suggest you do is to have and that's what I do in cases, especially for VOD cases, have them transcribed by a certified court reporter or a certified translator and transcriptionist. Have them transcribed and certified. And then I usually would say, the original video and/or audio recording can be purchased, but you cannot send anything electronic to USCIS unless they specifically ask for it. Okay. Can I travel from Michigan to Seattle with my foreign passport? If it's valid, I just always say just be careful and travel with caution, that you don't go through places where, because some states will, if you travel from one state, right, especially if you come to a state that borders Canada or Mexico, or when you go through customs, that just be careful and know where you're going. Um, that's what I usually say. Can I bring my sister's children over from Ethiopia if your primary caregiver passes away? If you are a citizen or at the very minimum a green card holder, then you can look into either an orphan adoption process or a family petition adoption process. Can can my spouse file K-1 visa for me while she's on welfare or have a child? As long as she's a citizen, she can. But by the time it gets to the point of submitting your I-134 for the embassy stage, as well as they're coming here at age 64, she probably would need a joint sponsor. So as long as you guys have that, then you should be fine. If a spouse is on R1 in the US, can an I-130 still be filed by US spouse? Yes. Short answer, yes. Let's see. Can I bring adopt my nephew from Nigeria? My sister passed away. That's what I just said. That you can, it depends if you either if you are a citizen, only citizens can do orphan adoption cases or adoption process. So that's something you can look into. If you're not a citizen, then you have the option of family petition process, which is basically physical custody and legal custody of the kid. It's a much longer process. So if you're a citizen, you're probably better off with the orphan adoption process. Okay. Let's go to Instagram. Let's see. It's been a while I did um video, but we'll see. Let me take the questions first and then what's the time? Oh, talking of time. Okay. Yeah, yummy. We get this every day. So I have a girl, Lydia, who helps with my I got people who help me. And I'm just very grateful for my team. I don't know what I would do without Carla, Isaiah. I mean, yeah. But she has about had it because there are like for consultations, we have every single day we have that I have consultation. Somebody calls the office and is angry or they're frustrated because his lawyer is literally Zoom and they've been waiting every single time, 100% of the time. It turns out that they missed a part of the very bold uppercase font that says, please note, consultation is Alabama Central Standard Time. So, and you people, please, 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 before you pick up the phone and get frustrated with my front desk, make sure that you ain't gonna meet me and I'm gonna say, bye. Make sure you know your time zone. And that's why we have it on each option of the consultation. Please note it is Alabama Central Standard Time. So if you are an hour ahead, if you have 2 hours behind, you've got to know. Whenever you make a consultation with us, understand that we use the times in the consultation are all Alabama Central Standard Time. Okay. All right. Just wanted to when I talk about time so that you know. Okay. Just getting over it. Let's see. How long does it take after paying filing fees, DHS to have work permit and travel document? Um, if you depends on what 5 3 months from 3 months to 8 months, but the USCIS.gov for such person times will give you um, the time frame they're working with, but yours could be earlier, it could be later. It just depends. Husband is wisdom. Waiting to see you as well. Let's see. Have you ever have you ever heard any case where someone with travel permit via VAWA isn't let in after she travels? I have not. Okay. Tell us more about the recent conditional green card news. If you go back on my page and watch the video on Tuesday. National interest, okay. Right. 334-341-4475. And it's on all the platforms. If you go on my page, our contact information is there as well. Okay. Let's see. After your I-360 has been approved. Okay. I'm not seeing this on Facebook. I don't agree with me because I did. Same question. Okay. Is it advisable I-130, 45, 765 for marriages at the same time? I would think so. Hello, Miss Adequate, how are you? Okay. Hello, Miss Amoli. How is life going with you? you? I'm still waiting on you to come on the live. Don't think I forgot. Is she the one waiting? Let me see. She's not. You still have the chance. You want to come? You can send me the request now if you want to join. If not, I will still remind you. Let's see. Please tell us about the investment path to citizenship. I don't do 85 anymore, so. Okay, I filed my I-751 since last year, January, and didn't get any response from USCIS. Now I filed my 400 and it's showing activity being reviewed. I plan on traveling in May. What do you advise? I would not advise you to travel and sit down in the United States. Um, that's what I would advise. Um, What about pending I-360 for over 2 years? What about it? Can someone that just got EAD apply for Advance Parole now? As long as your I-485 is still pending, there's nothing that stops you from applying for Advance Parole. Just include a copy of your 485 showing that you paid the fee. If you had your fees waived, then you either would have to pay the filing fee or request yet another fee waiver. So I filed for VAWA. I'll get green card for 4 years automatically. Uh, there's no 4 years green card. I'm not sure I understand what you're asking. So I-360 pending over 2 years. What do you suggest? First of all, go check if your case is still within the normal processing time. 2 years is not. It's taking the average time right now on the USCIS website is I think don't put I think 32 months, 30 something months. So about 3 years. So 2 years is not now. It doesn't mean that your case cannot be approved in 2 years, but you most likely, if you put in your receipt date, it will tell you whether or not your case is within the normal processing time. And if it's still within normal processing time, then you're just going to have to wait. Um, USCIS is waiving interviews now. Yes, they've announced that since last year. So a friend of mine got a 10-year green card. Congratulations to your friend last week. Never got a social. Oh, it's possible. That's why I tell people submit everything. Submit your entire history life because increase your chances of having your interview waived and just getting your green card approved. That's the way you do it. Hello, Miss Medina. How are you? Check your email. Check your email. If my previous switch from B2 to F1 was rejected and now I filed VAWA, does USCIS cancel my AP due to that? I'm not understanding the questions you're asking. Um, think you should have a lawyer sit down with a lawyer and have those questions answered, so you get a better understanding of what your case is about, what answers you need. More like that one, not for your pocket. Yeah, that's. Are you talking about my dad in Alabama? License, license is a license is a license, but African parents, you know how they are. You know how they want you to do everything like they're the one waiting for the someone exam. Thank you, Jayola. It's like, that Nikolonkai is also by exam. Like, sit down and tell you what I think I was telling a friend well, not a friend, well, an acquaintance in court this morning that I've become my mother in a way because someone's asking me, so what's your son going to study in college? Because my oldest is heading to college later this year. I cannot believe I have a kid. And I was like, well, we're giving this options. And she goes, well, what does he want to study? And I go, one of the options we gave him. She was like, oh, to me, I was wondering what the confusion was. And she was like, so he doesn't get to choose what he gets to choose from from the choices. Does anybody am I making sense? Like, isn't that what it is? And you can't let a kid just go into the world and say, hey, I want to study wall painting. We don't. So I was like, I've become my mother. Because, they give you, like Africans give you choices, like your parents give you, narrow it down, and then you choose right. Oh, am I? Y'all understand. Y'all understand where I'm coming from. But she was looking at me like, really? Yeah. What? Why is that strange? It's normal for us. Thank you, Miss Medina. Thank you. You are awesome. Thank you for your kind words. Check your email. Can someone that just got a new EAD and asylum apply for advance parole now? You can. Keep in mind when you have asylum pending, you cannot go back to the country you're seeking protection from because that can jeopardize you. Hello, Miss Tony. I won't say your last name. How are you? I haven't seen you here in a while. Thank you for sharing all the information. You're welcome. Do you think it's right to file without you submitting the evidence based on marriage? If you're filing an AOS marriage based and you're hoping to get your interview waived, then you have to submit everything at once. If you don't want an interview waived, then you wait till they call you for an interview and take your evidence with you. Okay. Yes, sir. Oh boy, yeah, someone said it there. Uh, I don't know how to mark those Yoruba. Some of us are not meant to even be close to it. Miss Amomi, okay. You know what? You already know what is throw another shade your way. Oh no, it's on now. Shame me, okay. Oh, bravo, it's on. I have your number. When my text into my teacher, it's on. Let's see who's gonna win. Because I can argue with anybody any day. I can argue with a door. Hey, I'll call alone for any A3. The F9. Where we have to think about God because my mom was like, hey, let's you don't question God, just leave it. God has given you a blessing, leave it alone. Put it on you and leave it. Okay. Hello, Mr. Odin. Let's see. I just want to make sure I don't miss anybody's questions. No EAD and prima facie approved. Now, let's clarify something. If you filed VAWA, EAD, the very first thing I want you to go check for, especially for those who may have been waiting for the EADs for more than a year based on VAWA. go check and make sure that the category you filed was a C9 category based on your pending 485. If you filed a C31, if that's the category you chose, you are going to be waiting for that to be approved after your bar case has been approved, because the C31 is solely attached to the bar petition. It's not based on the 485. So if you selected a C31 category work permit, you ain't getting that until your VAW has been approved. If you want an EAD while your VAW case is pending and you have filed a 485, you've got to select a C9 category work permit. So that's where you need to start from. My brother's girlfriend is from Sweden. She married him but never filed for paper. They just went to Sweden for Christmas and she got deported for overstay. She come back? I don't do immigration in Sweden. Sister lawyer, I don't do nothing for nobody. Mm, mm. So it is not recommended to travel if N400 is filed. It's not like it's not recommended, but if you have a case where, especially if you are, for instance, you have to have been uh, before you file, so just before you file, you must have been resident in that state where you're filing for 90 days. You don't want to have a break in your continuous residency and physical presence, because those are things that you have to make sure that you already have before you file. So what matters is your physical presence and continuous residency prior to you filing the N400. So it's not like you cannot travel, but my concern is, what if you are scheduled for an interview, 2 weeks or whatever, and you're stuck wherever you are, and then you miss your interview date? Hopefully not, but I just don't advise, especially because most of the time, N400, save for some few field offices, most places where I have clients, I've had one scheduled, from the time we filed to when my client became a citizen in 2 months. So in situations like that, it's like, okay, let's just hold on. I hope that answers your question, Miss Medina. That's just always my concern. Okay, I will check my email once I'm done. No, we'll let's go, boy. I'm not saying you cannot travel. Don't twist my word, Natty. I didn't say you can. I said sit your down, because if you're saying it's been actively reviewed, it actively reviewed doesn't mean your case is going to be approved tomorrow. But what I've seen with N400 is, for the most part, it gets approved or gets scheduled rather quickly, unless you're in Texas or Atlanta or places where it's. But for me, and that's why I give an example of someone who, um, you know, from start to finish was 2 months. The extension allows you to travel and work. Nothing stops you from doing that. And I'm not saying you cannot travel. You asked me a question, I'm giving you my suggestion. That's all. So I've been now, my detail too. A license is a license is a license. I mean, whenever I feel my T28 form, notice of appearance as counsel, I use my Alabama registration number. Well, and then last week I put the New York bar number. But the one because that's where I'm based. A license is a license, is a license. Hey, but that's what I'm about. I'm going to no, can I say? Um, that would not be useful in the future. I mean, I have to read this. Angel says, my daughter once said she wants to be a janitor to save Earth. I'm like, Miss, not in this house. Nothing wrong. That's clear. Nothing wrong with being janitors. There are people who actually are multimillionaires with janitorial service companies. What the point is, we're so it is so ingrained in us as Africans. And for instance, Nigerians are the most educated African immigrants in the United States. We don't play with knowledge. And the one thing, especially when you have this black skin, let's call it a spade a spade. In where I practice, because I do criminal defense and family law, I am the only black female in that whole circuit, the only black female attorney. And I'm not even from the United States. I am all the way from Nigeria. God's favor, for instance, it happened today in court. I was just minding my own business. One of the defendants, because I do appointed cases, one of the defendants went to the court. He has an attorney that's representing him already. They went to the judge and says, I don't want him. Can you please appoint Miss Olole in my case? Yeah, I can't watch see him minding my own darn business. But he said, in the open court, Judge, please appoint her in my case. I want her to be my lawyer. And you are the one sole black female attorney in the whole sea of white male attorneys. That's God, number one. Number two, that's your parents telling you got to get your ass to school. I mean, the good thing about my case is I was interested in going to law school, but my parents, felt I should go to law school because I have 3 siblings out of the 4 of us, and the one that talks for everybody. So my dad was like, I hope you find something to do with that mouth that will pay you. So nothing wrong with it, but just the African. Okito says, Eleanor, I just died. I'm telling you, those kids will come up. TJ one day comes and says, so because we're talking about going to grad school. And he says, we've not even gone to college. You're already talking about graduate school. Like, yeah. And I said, because your dad, the father is a medical doctor. And I said, your dad is a physician. He owns his own clinic. Your mom is a lawyer. So that's just what is expected. Myself for me. Wait, well, since dad has a graduate degree and you have a graduate, Esther is going to do this. I can go to soccer graduate school. Soccer graduate school. Graduate school talking about football. Let's just leave that. Oh God, so and you looked at me like she's about to cut my head off. But see, they'll push you to the limits. If you already had an EAD for marriage and change to vow, will my EAD still be valid to work? So, good question. What I usually do for my clients is this: if you have a regular marriage-based case, and then you file your vow petition, the law allows you, and that's what I've spoken to so many people that even when they have lawyers in their case, some lawyers don't even tell them that, and make them now file a new I-45, pay new filing fees altogether. That's just with additional attorney fees and filing fees. The law allows you to request the USCIS transfer your 485 application from the I-130 basis, transfer it to your VAWA case. And whenever I make that request on behalf of a client, I actually print out the part of the USCIS policy that specifically addresses the self-petition transfer, attach it to every case. But the caveat is this: once you make that request to USCIS, you must file your VAWA petition within 30 days from the time you make the request. As long as you do it within 30 days from the time you make the request, then they are required, use the word, to transfer your 485. And once they transfer the 485, your EAD is attached to the 485, your advance parole is attached to the 485. All three of them gets transferred, and now the basis for your 485 and then EAD and advance parole will be the VAWA case, and they sit there until your VAWA petition is approved. I have had a client that we did that for back in August, Atlanta field office. They now sent a denial letter to us saying that we did not file it within 30 days. Thank God I always send my packages and request somebody sign for it. And that was when Vermont Service Center started with the delay in receipt notices. And I sent not too nice a request. We didn't even file an I-290. I told my client we ain't filing that. No, this is on their own. This is their fault, and they would have to reopen it. sent in a service request to reopen, and just highlighted it and explained and analyzed how really not too smart they were, um, and how as God would have it, the same day we got the denial of that 45 is the same day we got to receive the 45. That shows that we filed it within 30 days. So I sent everything to them, told them, okay, because it's your error, you'll go ahead and reopen it. Within 30 days, they reopened it. Although my client did not want to wait because he didn't want to jeopardize, so he decided he wanted to file a new 45. So basically, we filed a new 45. 30 days after that, they reopened that. So I was like, yeah, but we didn't know. But the point is, that's what the law allows you to do. So you don't have to file a new 45. You can at least transfer what you have. And I have so many clients that that's what we did. And their VADs and the transfer was just the way, nothing changed. Okay. Doesn't matter where lawyer filed from while I'm living in a different state. It's not where your lawyer files from. If you're talking of, for instance, if you're talking about your um, marriage-based case, it depends on um, it depends on where you live. So it's not about where your lawyer's office is located. What's the difference between C9 and C31? C9 is an EAD category based on a pending adjustment of status application. A C31 is issued only after you have been your VA case, your VA petition has been approved. So a C31 is attached to an I-360 VA petition. Upon approval of that, sometimes the first indication you have that your VA petition has been approved is when you get a USCI's case status update under your VAR case number, telling you that it have issued, your card has been issued, or we ordered your new card. That card that will come up as notification under your VAR petition receipt number is the EAD attached to that, because now your I-360 has been approved. The C9, however, is attached to the 485. The C9 is the one that you can get if you filed a 485 while your VA case is still pending. C31, you cannot get that until your VA petition has been approved. So I hope that. Okay, so you said it was approved, but no EAD yet for over 2 years. You probably requested a C31, or maybe you never even filed one. Hooker, I think you should sit down with the lawyer and figure out what's going on. Can you file VAW while in removal proceedings? Absolutely. There's even a different kind. Well, it's not different. It's VAW, but there's also VAW cancellation and removal solely done while you are in removal proceedings. Can one who is married to a U.S. citizen file for VAW after realizing his spouse is still legally married to another woman? That's an interesting set of facts. But short answer, yes. Even if your abuser is legally married to somebody else, as long as you did not know prior to your marriage, and you believe that your marriage is legitimate, is a valid marriage, and the bigamy is on their part, not you, you still will qualify for that. Okay. This is a lot of sugar auntie. Oh Lord. When you don't have a problem, but you still consulting your lawyer because she's pretty, I'll take your money. Hey, you said it. I'm just responding. Okay. Um, can I change lawyer while filing vow? I need you. That didn't come on. Anyway. All right. Okay, I gotta go. Let me just go back to Facebook real quick. Uh okay. My I-360 was approved. Congratulations. And my divorce. Okay. Can my ex-spouse criminal case affect my I-45. That shouldn't be any reason why your ex-spouse case should affect your case. Okay. Um, After the approval, congratulations on receipt of initial grant of deferred action. What next to do to get a green card? Also, the marriage green card was transferred to the case at the first instance. Perfect. You just have to wait. Just wait for them to approve your case. If you did not send in your medical, then you probably get a deficiency notice letting you know that they will probably send you an RFE for that, or they'll probably just go ahead and send you an RFE. If you get an RFE for medical before you get an interview notice, that's your indication that most likely your interview is going to be waived. Okay, good question. Is it possible to marry someone before VAW case is approved? On average, how long do VAW cases take before the green card? First part of your question, is it possible to marry someone before VAW case is approved? You can marry all you want, but understand something. Once you get married, while your VAW case is still pending, that is the end of your VAW petition. Remarriage completely ends your VAW petition. End of story. End of story. If you remarry, your VAW I-360 is not approved, then that is the end. If you think you're not going to tell USCIS and then you take the approval and then you just go and get a green card, keep in mind that will most likely subject you to deportation, because when you apply for your citizenship or when they figure out you got married before the approval, they have a right to revoke your approval. So do not, cannot get married while your petition is pending. Okay. My US fiance lives in Georgia and I stay in Texas. Can we get married in Texas? Then I moved to Georgia and found my papers in Georgia. If you are moving, if that's going to be your state of residency, where your marital residence will be, then there should be no problem with that. All right, maybe one or two before. 9. Chanel Cunningham, congratulations, got my green card. It's been a while since someone write a date that way, because that's right in Nigeria. I'm not sure where you're from, but mostly, yeah, the date before the month. So I have to twist it around November 15th. Congratulations on November 25th. 25th. Congratulations. That must feel so amazing. That must feel so amazing. I can tell. I think I just answered your question. Okay, Daniel, I'm not going to put your question on the screen, but what I would just say is, um, you cannot be planning to file for VAWA after you file for an I-130. That's, yeah, we're just going to leave your question alone. Answer Peter's question, then Khalid denied. I have already filed adjustment with my wife, and she has been abusive. Can I switch to VAWA, or should I wait to get EAD before filing for VAWA? And EAD has been pending for 9 months now. It does not affect your conversion, as long as you make the request for them to switch over. And since it's been pending, you haven't been scheduled for an interview, you can go ahead and file your petition. Once your petition has been sent in, then you make your request to USCIS that I've just filed for VAL, please transfer this. I'll send you a copy of the receipt notice once we get that. It would not affect your pending EAD application, as long as the 485 stays where it is. All right. Okay. I think that's all I can take for tonight. 98 new messages. No people can do that. All righty. So I will see you guys on Thursday, Tuesday. Um, Thank you so much for joining me each and every day. I really do appreciate it. Once again, if we can be of help to you in your immigration case, um, Contact information is 334-341-4475. Visit our website at olalayalawfirm.com. You can also send a text to us. Thank you, Essentials, to the same number on WhatsApp. We will be very privileged and honored to help you in your immigration journey. Sometimes things don't end the way we want, but you would know. The one that I would say my clients is I can never guarantee an outcome. The one thing I know that I strive for you to, as a client, for me, is when you look back, you should be able to say, you know what, Cecilia has shared everything, and that's all. That as long as we can get to that, you know, obviously I want to win. Like I am, y'all don't even understand that. I don't know how to. I don't know how to. Nobody should know how to lose, but I don't know how to absorb not winning. I still struggle with that. I struggle with it. Like sometimes I just shut down because I am so geared to. We've got to have, but I'm teaching myself that God has a purpose for everything that happens. He already knows, and there's a reason for it. You may not understand the reason, but there is always a reason for it. Can a U.S. citizen spouse that doesn't file tax to file for their spouse? You, yeah. You probably just need a joint sponsor. But let's just keep hanging in there, believing and trusting that He is God and He is in control. And just believing. I always say, success starts in the mind. You've got to start here to know that you believe that your story is going to end in praise, that you're going to look back and testify to the goodness of God. It may not be at the time that your neighbor's testimony is coming, but to everything there is a season, and everyone's season is different. Our season of blessing is different from yours, but we have to learn to rejoice with one another and in anticipation of when your own blessing and rejoicing is coming, and way so that people will celebrate with you when your season comes. So have a good night, everyone. I will